Hey,
Brendan, what stood out to you with this group this morning?
well, this is a group that's going to be second, possibly undrafted. We've been here before, so they're scrappy. There's a lot to prove. Play with a lot of energy. I think a defensive-focused group. So some of the things that we're looking at are just particularly how they might fit as role players. Guys that we bring in summer league or camp. And I thought just really competitive on the whole. A lot since I'm in front of you. I think it's important. We're talking on the side about how much your view could change, and I think workouts like this are important, particularly when we've seen a lot of these guys at pro days. So before we quite get to the D-League conversation, a guy like Thomas Bryant, Jordan Bell, we've seen in the last week have shown us things that they couldn't show us in college. So, I'd like to be really diligent, as we think about our second-round picks, that some of these guys might have the ability to move the needle first on the NBA level. But, of course, we think we do a good job of developing talent, and so some of these folks might, wind up in Delaware.
In the second round, is it more for need or best available?
I think we're still in a place where we're looking at talent. We're going to have to cultivate some. As you know, we're still looking at the high end, right, to give us the best chance of winning games. But there are going to be some players that we're going to have to develop. They're all young. Whether that happens at, call it the 12, 13, 14, 15 spot on our roster or in the development league, the G League, we're going to have to be really focused that we get the right guys that could develop over time and be fills on our roster.
What did you see from?
What really stood out from you with Jordan Bell, like this season and in the workout? What do you really like about him?
For a Dennis Rodman-like player who's got the ability to play across a few positions, mainly defensively. We sat with him, had a great interview. As we've learned more about him, one of the fascinating things is that he's a volleyball player, and if you pick up on some little nuance, he blocks a lot of shots with two hands. It's very, very interesting and odd that you can almost see the volleyball play, like, blocking at the net. For a player is, I'd call him short, given how big you think he is at 6'8". His spring, his timing, his sense of timing. Coaches always want players who can guard pick and roll and guys who can switch, and I think he's going to give somebody a great asset and versatile defensive player.
What did you see from Bryant?
His increased confidence in shooting the ball. This year he moved to the 4. I think with focus on showing people he could be a stretch 4. There are questions about whether or not he can guard that position in the NBA. I think when you get close to him, you realize he's actually not small. I mean, he's 6'11" and a half in shoes with a 7.5 foot wingspan. He's a large person who can guard fives, I think, in the NBA. Add to that the ability to shoot the 3, he could be a weapon.
Is your approach different in the second round versus number 3 in terms of how you're looking at prospects?
I think one, there's probably a lot more ability to see the later draft picks, second round to undrafted types. As you know, the top end of the draft can be hard to get your hands on. We've seen that over the last several years. But in terms of trying to understand who has the ability to affect and impact winning, I think the focus is always the same. The level of talent for sure changes.
Does that story show maybe an NBA skill set that can be built upon one thing, or is he more of an all-around guy?
Probably if there were an elite skill, I think it's knowing how to play and winning, IQ. Workout isn't a 3-on-3 or 6-man setting isn't great for all types of players. I think Steve looks much better in the context of 5-on-5. Watching him at the Portsmouth Invitational is an example, making the right pass at the right time, knowing when to jam a player, sort of use. He doesn't have elite quickness, but having the ability to read an offensive player. I really respect winning. I think a lot of us do. And is one of the reasons why he's here, because we've seen that with other players that were overlooked. Can he be developed physically? Given some of our tools here, I think so. But you look at his numbers and his shooting and winning at Notre Dame. I don't think you want to take that lightly.